Good afternoon, I'm Dr. Josh.
And I'm Dr. Kristina.
And welcome to Crossroads Chiropractic's Facebook Live. And today we're going to answer the biggest pressing question facing society right now. How do I get smarter? So the reason why we're talking about this is we have a lot of university and college students. And they're coming up to their final exams, or they're in their final exams right now, right?
Yeah.
And our high school students are going to be in final exams in January. So this is a great time to start talking about what we can do to improve our memory. Now, for the most part, there's a lot that you should be doing leading up to if you're doing a test, obviously. But these are simple tests, simple things that you can do when you're studying for an exam, starting to study. But you don't have to just be a student to get the benefit of this, right? Because, you know, the old proverb, if you're green, you're growing, if you're ripe, you're rotting, right? We always are learning stuff, and we always have to learn new things. So these are really, really important tips that you can actually do and incorporate in your life right now to be able to improve your IQ, which is amazing. And these will improve your memory. It's amazing. They really, really do work.
Yeah.
So I got 3. Dr. Kristina's got 3. And or two. or something. She'll say something.
We've got maybe around 5 altogether.
We got maybe 5 altogether. So stick around for all 5 because they're going to be super, super awesome. Okay? So the first tip is you want to move when you're studying, right? Because movement basically is life. But our brains, most people don't think about it, know this or understand this. Yeah. But our brains don't, obviously it uses oxygen and glycogen for fuel, but movement, us moving around, actually stimulates your brain. So when you're moving and your brain is stimulated, you actually are able to remember things better. So the worst thing that you can do is when you're trying to remember something, say you're reading a book, you want to relax when you're reading a book, but if you're trying to memorize something or study, is you should be active, right? So if you can't be moving, you want to make sure you incorporate exercise regularly, get up, move around. Or when I was in college, what I did is I wrote my stuff on a cue card and I would pace, right? And that pacing
I did that too.
It's amazing how much I retain more. And I did it just intuitively, but then I realized the neurology afterwards. I was like, man, that's no wonder it really worked. Yeah. So always move when you're studying. If not while you're studying or you're learning something. Yeah. But also make sure you maintain your exercise. Huge.
Absolutely.
That's my first one.
My first one is something that really works for me because I'm a visual learner. So color coding everything. So different topics, everything under that topic will be the same color. So you can use a highlighter that's the same color, or you can, if you're taking handheld notes, you're writing out cards, write them out in a green pen or a blue pen, like certain topics, because it will really help your brain to associate that color with the topik. So it's a very easy memorization technique that you can use, which is great, and it really helped me a lot.
Awesome. And for you can extend that to not only the writing, but also different colored cue cards.
Yep.
If you're reading a book, highlighting things, different colors, things like that, right? Because our bodies there is a frequency with the colors, and all of us have basically different frequencies respond, and you remember things better, right?
Yeah, I think there was a study done as well, actually, that I was told, a psychology study, that the color green helps you remember things better.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I gotta change to green.
Green is really, really a key one, for sure. And also when you're doing anything with an image, so if you need to, put notes on an image, or, definitely, like, what am I trying to say? Like,
pictures.
Like pictures, or let's say if it's a picture of a certain anatomy and you need to remember each, like, individual part, then you can put them in different colors, and it'll color them in that color as well, write the name beside it or whatever, and it'll help associate.
Yeah, so you link the color with the word plus the color of the thing.
There you go.
Awesome. Second tip for me is make sure that you are hydrated. I know I talk about this on every video. I talk about hydration, but we're 98% water. Actually, studies have shown different. I always use the 98% water stat. There's other different, numbers that people give. But you need to be hydrated, right? Because if you're not hydrated, your brain's not going to be working because it's mostly water, right? That's what we're doing. Easy.
To give it liquid energy.
Liquid.
The second one for me would be I think it's kind of obvious, but repetition. So you want to go over things regularly, and especially actually at night before you go to bed. If you can get all your cue cards ready of what you need to do and you read them before you go to bed, your brain actually over the night puts that into long-term memory storage. So, you know, studying at night or memorizing or trying to memorize your cue cards and the information at night before bed is awesome. Yeah.
Now my next tip is, this is the one that I tell all of my students, and actually it's fantastic. It's probably not socially acceptable, you know, when you're sitting around with people, but chew gum when you're studying and when you're writing tests. And the reason why you want to do that is it comes down to the neurology. It's when you're chewing gum, you actually are stimulating 3 very specific cranial nerves. Now, what cranial nerves are, if you don't know, cranial nerves are nerves that go directly right to the brain. So most of our peripheral nerves go from the extremity to the spinal cord to the brain, right? Whereas the cranial nerves go from the outside right to the central nervous system, right to the brain itself. So those are the nerves that you want to stimulate the most to get the brain most active. And so when you're chewing gum, you're doing the hypoglossal, glossopharyngeal, and the trigeminal nerve. You're doing those 3 cranial nerves, or the cranial nerves that are being stimulated from the chewing and from the swallowing and that. So you want to chew gum because that'll stimulate the brain directly, right? Now, the caveat to that is you want to make sure when you're chewing gum that it's sugar gum, not sugar-free. And the reason why we do sugar gum is sugar is natural. Your body breaks it down normally. It has the effects on your blood sugar, all that kind of stuff. Like your body normally breaks it down. It's a complex carb. When you eat a gum with an aspartame or an artificial sweetener, studies have actually shown that that will actually lower your IQ. So one study showed that it dropped your IQ 2 points. So when I was a student, I needed every point I could get.
You need all of it.
I didn't want to lose any points of brain power. So even if it's not true, I didn't even want to test that.
Yeah.
So I made sure that I had my sugar gum. And so it makes a big difference, right? And so that's what I meant socially acceptable, because a lot of people don't think it's polite to chew gum in public and all that kind of stuff. So, but when it comes to studying, very, very, very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't have any other points, so.
Yes, you do. You have the most important point. I'm going to tell you, and that's why we left the best for last, right? The most important thing for memory is getting adjusted.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it, right? And so, you know, when your spine is working properly, when your nervous system is working properly, when the power is getting from the brain to the body, from above, down, inside out, your body not only heals and functions, regenerates, recreates, but there's no interference in your system, so your brain can do what it's designed to do, which is
assimilate knowledge.
Assimilate knowledge, right? So when you're subluxated, that means posturally you're not great. So power that's in your brain is actually trying to, it's
your
not.
Body, it's so concentrated on dealing with the issues in your body that it doesn't have any power left to remember anything.
Exactly.
So that's why a lot of people who are in pain have, you know,
terrible
memory problems.
Yeah, and one of the things we often find with a lot of patients too when they start care in our office is they'll say, you know, doc, it's amazing, but that I had this cloud. My brain was always cloudy and foggy. I had this fog brain. And then now it's gone. I feel like I can think straight. And what that is basically the brain's actually able to function the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, the pressure's gone. So.
Yeah, awesome. So
that's fantastic.
Those are our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tips.
Yeah.
Those are awesome tips. Every one of them is super important. And you know what? Right now, you know, if you know a student, share this video with them, because honestly, we want to make sure that every kid gets the best opportunity to do the best that they can, right? And so, not only our patients in the office, I always encourage them to get adjusted before their exam. I give them these exam tips, right? Because we want them to do well, right? And so, same with the people that you know and love, right, everyone? And if you're not doing a test, you know, still, honestly, if you have to memorize something, I had to memorize something the other day. It was so hard. It was crazy hard, right? Because I'm gotten out of habit and practice, right? And I had to do some of these tips just to remember it too. So
that's it.
Awesome. So if you like this video, please share it. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Pinterest.
We need to get on our Pinterest.
We're not very good at that.
And we're on Twitter too, but
we're
not really doing much
Twitter.
of that yet either.
On Twitter, we need to follow.
But we will.
We will be there. See, we keep telling you guys this stuff. You're trying to find us, and we can't find.
Yeah, that's.
They haven't updated anything in 20 years. Most importantly, check us on our website, www.crosschiro.ca.
Yep.
Yeah.
And leave any comments.
Leave any comments
below.
before. We already see some
Let
awesome
us know
comments.
some of your study
Yeah, if you
habits
have
or
any
memorization tips or memory
if you have any
tips.
tips, if you have any tips that we never mentioned that
Yeah.
you think that really work for you, love to hear them. Write them
Absolutely.
down, right? Or things that you need to that you found for memory.
That
There are
works.
some other things nutritionally that we could talk
Oh,
about.
absolutely.
But we
Yeah.
can
That
talk
could be
about
another
that.
video.
That could be
maybe.
another video. We can talk about that in our comment section. So
For sure.
awesome.
Bye,
This
guys.
is Dr. Josh.
And Dr. Christina.
We'll see you later. Have a great
Bye.
day.